Hello, and welcome to the MCF Gantt Pro user guide videos. In today's training, we're going to go through a basic introduction of the Gantt Pro and how to interact with it in the following ways. We want to be able to launch the Gantt. We're going to discuss the check-in, check-out process, adding our first task, how to save and close the Gantt. As you can see, I've launched our QuickBase application that our Gantt is going to be serviced on top of. So in this case, we've got the basic installation. So all of our naming conventions are going to be projects and tasks. Yours might be slightly different if your application is specific to your process and has different names. But for the sake of this training, we're going to go ahead and go through our basic installation. So I'm going to go to my projects table. If I look here, I've got a list of all of my projects. And then you can see I've got my Launch Gantt button here as well. So the Gantt button doesn't matter if you're launching it from a report or directly from a record, as long as it's linked to a particular project. That's how we're going to launch the Gantt for which particular project we want. So I'm going to click into my project here, and you can see all of the basic project information. And then I've also not yet created any tasks. So I'm launching my Gantt for the first time to generate my project plan. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. We're going to click Launch Gantt. And it's important to note that the Gantt UI basically sits on top of QuickBase. So it's pulling in all of the data that's related to that project that's already in QuickBase. And when I go to save this project back, it's actually going to save that data back into QuickBase so you can have all of your standard QuickBase reports. So as you can see here, I've got different views. So right now I'm looking at the graphical view, which is going to be empty because we don't yet have any tasks. So our project is here on the left-hand side in our grid view. Now we want to talk about the check-in, check-out process. So I'm going to go back into that QuickBase record where I launched my Gantt from. So this is that MCF demo project record. You'll see here that I have a message that tells me that the Gantt is currently already checked out and that I've got the ability as an admin, because that's my role in the app, to unlock the Gantt for that person, or because I am the person that's currently got the Gantt checked out, I can unlock it from here. And this is just in case you opened it, you forgot to close it out, and so it never got checked back in. Whatever the case is, this is just so that other people can launch the Gantt. Because you'll notice that I no longer have that Launch Gantt button, so I don't have the ability, in this case, when we're doing the check-in, check-out method, we want one person to be in the Gantt and editing it at a single time. That way, if you kind of think about using a shared folder on like the cloud or an SFTP or your file system, if you're working in a Microsoft Word document and someone else is working in the same Microsoft Word document and they save and then you save, you're basically going to save over any of the changes that they made. It's going to look exactly like you have it. So this just prevents that. So we're going to go back into our Gantt here, and we're going to go ahead and look at adding some tasks, because right now it's pretty empty. And you can see I don't have any project start dates. I don't have any dates for my project because they're essentially going to be fed up from my tasks below. So we're just going to go ahead and create some tasks here. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to add a subtask. And so you can see we've got them from up here, from creating the button, and I have it from right-clicking and adding that subtask here. Now that we have our task created, let's go ahead and talk about saving and closing the Gantt. So it's important, if you close the Gantt here with our X up at the top right-hand side of the screen, it's not going to save any of the changes that we've made. So if you want to save your Gantt, first you're going to click this save here, and you're going to get a message that lets you know it's saving, and then you'll get a message that says success. If for some reason it was not successful in saving, you'll get a message as well that lets you know that it did not save back to QuickBase correctly so that you can go ahead and attempt the save again. So now that we saved, I'm going to go ahead and click my close button. And what this is going to do is take me back to my project record in QuickBase. So you can see here the Launch Gantt button is back. I no longer have the unlock versions, and that's because the process of closing the Gantt has checked it back in so that other users can launch the Gantt for this particular project. It's also important to note that you can have more than one project open in the Gantt at a time. For example, you personally could have a couple of different browser windows that have multiple projects open. So those Gantts are open for each individual project. But also, if I have this project checked out, my MCF demo, then maybe somebody else has this wave process POC open or the kickoff meeting project open. So the Gantt is not just letting you check out one project at a time. It's just that only one person can have that particular project checked out at one time. Thank you so much for joining us for our user guide training. I hope this was helpful. In our later trainings, we're going to go through some more features such as interacting with the different columns in the Gantt, how to enter your task information, and some more advanced features as well, like critical path and different scheduling modes.